Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving into one of the biggest challenges in AI right now. How do we make it more accurate, more reliable, and, stop it from just making things up? This is going to be a good one.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You ask an AI what feels like a simple question, and you get an answer back that sounds so confident, so sure of itself, but it's completely, totally wrong. It's not just frustrating. For any serious work, that's an absolute deal breaker.
And these are the usual suspects. They hallucinate, which is really just the nice way of saying they invent facts out of thin air. Their knowledge also has an expiration date, right? It's totally frozen in time from their last training run, so good luck asking about recent events. And of course, they have no idea about your company's private data or specific documents. Their answers just kind of float, pulled from a statistical soup instead of a real, verifiable source. So how in the world do we fix this? Well, the solution is this really powerful technique called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. And honestly, the best way to think about it is that we're giving our super smart, but sometimes forgetful AI a library card to a library that we get to build and control completely. So here's the core idea. RAG combines the amazing language skills of a big model with a real-time, lightning-fast search system. So before the AI even thinks about answering you, it first does a quick search across a set of documents that you've told it to trust, your documents. This grounds its response in actual, verifiable facts, not just whatever it learned months or years ago. This diagram really helps make it click. Think of the language model as this brilliant but totally isolated scholar. And the retrieval system? That's our hyper-efficient librarian. So when you ask a question, the librarian instantly zips through the stacks and finds the exact passages from the exact books the scholar needs to look at before writing an answer. The scholar gives us the eloquence, but the librarian gives us the facts. Okay, that all sounds great in theory, but what's actually happening under the hood? Let's pull back the curtain and walk through the blueprint for how one of these RAG systems actually gets built.
You can really break the whole thing down into two main phases. First up is indexing. This is all the prep work. It's us building and organizing our library of facts. Then there's the second phase, retrieval and generation. And that's the part that kicks in every single time a person asks a new question. Let's zero in on that first phase, the indexing part you see up top here. This is where we get our hands dirty. We take all our documents, could be PDFs, websites, whatever, we load them up, and then we split them into smaller, more digestible chunks. Now here comes the really cool part. We convert those chunks into something called vector embeddings. It sounds technical, but it's basically turning the meaning of the text into a string of numbers. That lets the computer search for related ideas, not just keywords. And we store all of this in a special kind of database called a vector store. That becomes our super searchable digital library. And now for phase 2, the bottom half of the diagram. A user asks a question. The system takes that question, turns it into a vector too, and then goes to our new library to find the chunks of text with the most similar meaning. Those super relevant pieces are then handed over to the big language model along with the original question. And that is the magic loop right there. Search first, then answer. Now, the best part is you don't have to build all this from scratch. There are some absolutely incredible open source tools that do a lot of the heavy lifting for us. We're going to look at two of the key players here, LangChain and LangGraph. Here's the simple way to think about it. LangChain is the toolbox. It's got the hammer, the nails, the saw, all the individual components. It's what loads the documents, creates those vector embeddings, and talks to the AI model. LangGraph, on the other hand, is the project manager holding the blueprint. It defines the entire workflow. It tells the system which tool to use, in what order, and makes sure the whole process runs smoothly from start to finish. And that's the real beauty of LangGraph. It takes what could be a super complex, tangled mess of code and turns it into a clear, visual, and much more manageable workflow. And here it is. This is what that workflow actually looks like. It's a graph. Each of these colored boxes, or nodes, is a specific step in the process. You can literally trace the path. It starts, it figures out what the user is asking, it goes and retrieves the right documents, it generates the answer, and then it even checks and refines it. It's just a clean, logical flow from a question to a fact-checked answer. So, we've seen how it's built, but what's the real payoff here? I mean, why go to all this trouble instead of just using a standard AI right out of the box? Oh, the advantages are huge. For starters, you get answers that are actually grounded in your data. You can keep the AI's knowledge base totally up to date just by dropping in new documents. You can build these specialized AI experts for any field imaginable.
finance, healthcare, legal research, you name it. And it's actually really efficient. By only sending the most relevant little snippets of text to the AI, you save a ton on processing time and cost. This quote from the source material just nails it. The number one reason, the big one, to use RAG is to improve factual accuracy and put an end to those frustrating, confidence-destroying AI hallucinations. It's all about trust.
And check this out. Here's what that looks like in action. In this example, the system was asked about lane graph, but we hadn't given it any documents about that topic. So instead of just making something up, it does the right thing. It says, there is insufficient information. In the world of AI, knowing when to say I don't know is a massive, massive win. And really, that brings us to the ultimate goal. When you're building systems that people are actually going to rely on, this is the magic number. 0. 0 made-up facts. You want complete and total trust. And RAG is one of the best tools we have today to get us there. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. We've seen how RAG can make an AI an expert on a specific set of documents. But what happens when that knowledge base is constantly updated financial data or a live feed of the newest medical research? What if it's every legal precedent in a country? If we can ground our AI in any trusted source of truth, what seemingly impossible problems are suddenly within our reach? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.